Hi, I'm Laly David. I'm a partner here at OurCrowd, and I lead all things business development. As you can already tell, I'm Israeli. And together with the accent and the chutzpah that is commonly attributed to us, I also have a fair share of cynicism. And when the discussion came that the topic of this year's Global Summit is global impact, at first I was a bit dismissive. But when you actually look into the technologies, their impact is incredible. Out of the topics that John has mentioned, we chose few to highlight here that will demonstrate how technology can be and is instrumental in reducing and limiting the damages of global challenges. We will highlight 4 spheres where we are already heavily invested and happily involved, and I'm delighted to share these with you. The first sphere is natural disasters. For me, this is a reminder that when you think you have everything under control, when it comes to forces of nature, you can only predict, hopefully, and mitigate to some extent the damage. I'd like to introduce you to Garret Bryl, who's a volunteer drone pilot at the US Fire Department, and Adam Kaplan, the CEO and founder of Edgybees, to join us on stage and share their story. Great to have you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for showing up. I came here all the way from Texas. I don't know if we have any big fans. Yeah, there you go, right? So today I want to tell you about something very important to all of us, and that is saving lives, keeping our first responders more safe, and even saving property, and how technology is helping us do that and how we can even take it further. My name is Garret Bryl. A little history on me. I started flying the little remote control airplanes and helicopters everybody's familiar with. And then my wife, I was very lucky, she said, hey, you know those fancy ones that are real advanced, the white ones? Why don't you go get one? I was gone before she could finish her sentence. I was down to the store buying one. About a year later, she goes, you know, it's a family value of ours. If you have a gift, a blessing, a skill, that you should use it to help other people. And so she challenged me with that. How are you going to use that to help other people? Ooh, that was pretty tough for me. So I started asking some of my neighbors, and one of them said, hey, you know what? The fire department lost a firefighter out in a wildland fire, and they were talking about if they could only see from the air what was going on. So I went down, I talked to my fire chief, and he said, yes, I want you to fly for us. So I started flying for him. And then in May of 2015, something big happened, and this is a picture. Some of you may have even seen it. It went around the globe. It was on international TV. For the first time in history, this is Mr. Castell, and he was in a swiftwater incident. His whole house was just surrounded by floodwaters. There's no way to get a rescue line to him except for with a drone. And sure enough, we flew him a rescue line, and the rescue was successful, and him and his wife are still doing a good thing. Of course, this kicked off a whole big change in the whole area about drones should now be used for all public safety. And it went from my small town of Joshua to the DFW area, and then all the way out to the state of Texas. And this is Hurricane Harvey. Some of you may have been familiar, but we saved thousands of houses and even some lives down in Hurricane Harvey. They were trying to use manned aircraft, but it wasn't working, and we were able to prevent that. Some of the images you see up there from Hurricane Harvey. So do these things really make a difference? Well, absolutely they do. Now, we see 211 lives, and I want to be very careful that everybody understands that's only the ones reported to the media, and anybody that's ever had involvement with public safety, very, very, very small percent of what goes on actually gets reported to the media. So that's probably only 1/5, if that, of what's actually happened. So this is a thermal image. Another thing that started happening pretty fast, can we put different sensors on there and everything else? What I want you to pay attention, there's some firefighters climbing up on the roof. One of the things that firefighters have to do is ventilate the gases out of the roof. It's a very dangerous, one of the most dangerous tasks they can do. It's even more dangerous than going into a burning building because they can fall through the roof and into the fire. What this technology has allowed us to do is if you look at the lower part of the screen, you can no longer see the structural members of the roof, and that means that part of that roof is dangerous to walk on, and now we can keep firefighters safer from falling through the roof. In this video, this is a police operation. One of the most dangerous things that police can do is engage a suspect, especially a felony. This is a felon, he had a warrant. And as you'll see here, we were able to use a drone, and we were about a half a mile away. You could zoom in, and we could see exactly where the suspect was. We could route the police officers to a safe location and knew any kind of movement that he was involved in. And as you can see here, the standoff capability of drones is impressive. And so all this is great, and the technology is amazing, but if you notice in this, there's one thing missing, our situational awareness. If we needed to send somebody into a location or know where our first responders are at, it would be so beneficial if we could have that situational awareness from there. And anybody who's flown in an airplane knows that you're kind of missing it. So what's the next step? What happened? We talked to some people, we really need this information, and Edgybees stepped up. And now, while we're in the air, this is an actual screenshot of what we can see. We can see where the streets are. We can see where any kind of item of interest, we can put a marker on the suspect. We have trackers. We can track all of our responders for personal accountability. And it's made a huge change. And I'm going to hand it over to Adam now to tell you the rest of it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Garret. First, before I get started about Edgybees, I want to personally recognize Garret. One little known fact is Garret has personally saved more than 15 people with his flying skills. So we've had a great time partnering with Garret, and we've been working very closely with him in a number of different situations. And as he mentioned, situational awareness is what we're all about. So the software has been used in the recent California fires to help give people understanding where the streets are, where the locations of the first responders are, as well as overlaying the street names during Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Michael. So we've had a really good time helping people in the field. Additionally, the software is being used in a number of other verticals in giving situational awareness to oil and gas industries, helping soldiers in the field, as well as in automotive and a number of other industries. We're really proud to be helping out people in the field, both in the industrial and public safety world, as well as in the sports industries. So the company is growing. We're very happy to have partners like Garret on board to help, and thank OurCrowd for such great support from the very beginning, and looking forward to meeting you all today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Garret. Thanks for flying in. Thank you, Adam. To witness the technology of Edgybees implemented in real life on real people is truly inspiring. And we all speak about big data and AI all the time, maybe a bit too much, but I want to introduce you to Shimon Elkabetz, the founder and CEO of Climacell, who's actually in fact using real big data and AI to predict weather. Welcome on stage, Shimon, and thanks for flying in and being with us.
Can we get a movie starting? All right, so thank you everyone, and we'll start by me giving some context. So basically we're privileged, right? Because when we think about floods, we think probably about our TV at the basement, we can think probably about a beautiful site or some potential for property damage. But in developing countries, we're talking about life and death. And what it really means is that we cannot really protect developing countries as many other places across the globe. So why? The problem is that in most of the world, and specifically developing countries, weather data just doesn't exist. So what we're doing in Climacell is really all about all about solving this problem. So everything around us, this is what we're saying, everything around us is sensitive to weather. And if everything is sensitive to weather, we can turn everything to a weather sensor. So think about it. Our cars, wireless signals, satellite signals, cameras, IoT devices, basically almost everything can become a potential sensor. And we call it the weather of things. And once you have such a massive amount of data, and you combine it with really powerful modeling, you can create a reliable weather forecast everywhere in the globe. And when you have a reliable weather forecast anywhere in the globe, you can predict flood almost everywhere. So today, we're using this technology to announce Climacell Global Flood Forecasting. This product is basically going to predict flood events in a very localized way in more than 500 cities globally with more than 500 million people. And this is just the beginning. Thank you. So really, what we're doing is trying to revolutionize the way we think about weather forecasts and try to give access to that very important information to almost everyone around us. And our hope today is that we're at the beginning of a journey that will help us, help everyone save people's lives. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Shimon. Thank you, Shimon. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the milestone with us.